Welcome to Devil May Cry, a world full of your average UK residents and lovable goofy twinks, and a special guest appearance from my wife, Ada Wong. This game has so many attractive characters I don't know who looks better, the women or the men. Seriously, I'd fuck the shit out of everyone in this room, and that goes double for you, pal. And with this group of incredibly talented characters, I need to impress the ladies, and the only way I could think of doing that is beating Devil May Cry 5, but every time I die, the difficulty increases. Starting on the Devil Hunter difficulty, because human would just be way too easy, going all the way up to the infamous Dante Must Die difficulty. Some extra rules I decided to add was I only get 3 uses of either a full red orb revive or a gold orb revive, but I only use these as a last resort. It is fair to mention that this is not a concrete challenge run that you could look at to see if this is actually possible. This is more just for the sake of entertainment. So with the rules set, we take a trip down to the nearest Hot Topic to pick up a fresh new outfit for the challenge, and off we went down a road that I was not confident on. See, even though I have over 250 hours in this game, 80% of that being Dante and 20% busting a move, I haven't played this game in months, and this is not one of those games that you could randomly pick back up and expect to be as good as you were. But with the pressure on to impress the ladies and to beat the horrible upload schedule allegations, I had no time to practice. So my main goal going into this was to get through as much of the game as possible on the early difficulties so we could save any of our revives for the end, because the last 3 levels are going to be harder to complete than Dante's time in the Navy. So for the prologue, we get introduced to Batman's trusty sidekick, Jason Todd, who I feel will live a long and pain-free life, especially with his mentor, definitely Batman, by his side. And it's here we start fighting our first enemies. Like I said, we are starting on Devil Hunter difficulty, so these enemies were a breeze. It's in this mission we also get introduced to your average UK resident, also known as Virgil.
Oh, this place fucking stinks! Why is this chair so damn uncomfortable?
Did your mother ever teach you it's not nice to steal?
Fuck off.
But the rest of the cast doesn't know this because they're stupid, so with our first of many Virgil fights in this challenge, we were able to take him down and get the secret ending, and now we could end the challenge. Is what I thought until I really sat down and realized this wouldn't impress Ada Wong or Morrison, so I decided to keep going and actually start the challenge. In the next mission, we see Jason Todd save Dante from his Navy days, and after giving him some motivation passed down from his father...
You look like you could use a hand job, but I mean, I only have the one arm.
We were off. And this mission was also fairly simple. Get through the enemies, fight the end level boss, which wasn't difficult at all, and we finished the mission without even getting hit. And this streak of good luck continued on to the next match, where we get introduced to the Mucinex mascot and meet the enemies with one of the coolest designs. Cemetery fans. And with like most other enemies, we get through these enemies pretty quickly and move on to the end level boss. This boss is insanely fun to fight, especially on easier difficulties where there isn't as much risk, so we get past Goliath no problem, and this trend of bending these enemies over my knee would continue for the next couple of missions. Get through the normal enemies as fast as possible, just to get to the boss, beat the boss, and move on. At this rate, Ada Wong will be all over me in no time, and if I get lucky, maybe even this cuddly boy.
Fuck off.
But my streak of Sigma energy came to a halt in Mission 4 when I got to this section, and instead of enemies spawning for me to fight, no one spawned. I waited, and waited, and waited some more. It was at this point I really started contemplating my existence. If there's no enemies, how could this challenge go on? How could I impress Ada Wong? And I had felt that all hope was lost. I didn't know what to do. I restarted the mission. And after that slight mishap, we move on to the endgame boss, which was another cakewalk. And same for the next mission, where we fight a Red Dead 2 cosplayer and get a guest appearance from Kylo Ren, who comes to take all the credit. And the next mission is just a boss fight, which we deal with no problem, and I could say the same on Mission 7, where at the end level boss, we got a guest appearance from Nero, who didn't really do much, so I was left to deal with these enemies on my own. And after blitzing my way through the next level, I was feeling confident and comfortable again. My combos were longer, and so was my love for this white-haired pizza-loving murderer. But I was getting too cocky at this point. I felt the challenge was too easy and wouldn't make for an interesting video, so it was here I decided to stop using heals just to make it a little bit harder. So we fight Virgil and definitely lose on purpose, because that's how the story goes and not because I still suck at this game, and we move on to the next mission, where Batman tries to execute me for simply no reason. And in the next mission I was finally able to talk to Ada and express my feelings to her. but as soon as I was about to confess my love to her, she ran away and put up a force field to stop me from chasing her. But on the bright side, at least I know how Leon feels now.
Women.
Anyway, moving on to the next couple of missions were no big deal, same as always, commit mass genocide, hit a Fortnite emote, and move on to the next area. We even get to fight Virgil and get our asses beat again. Definitely still on purpose though. Don't want Ada Wong to think I'm incompetent or anything. And in the next mission we get introduced to and have a chat with the popular Scottish man, Winkle Dinkle.
I'm so fucking sick of you and your shite! I'll have you know I graduated the top of my class in 90, you daft prick! And I will not stand for that!
And after showing him the business, we save a naked woman covered in goo, but definitely don't look at her boobs because Ada Wong is the only woman I need. Moving on to the next level, we make our way through some enemies and take embarrassingly long on this puzzle skip, and we make it to another Virgil fight, but this one's different. You see, I haven't been completely honest with you. When I said I died to Virgil on purpose and to progress the story only, I wasn't telling the truth. You see, I was getting my ass beat in all those fights, and in this fight I had to actually win. So there was no more hiding behind my fear. I had to man up and murder my family. Which, if I'm being honest, went a lot better than expected. I mean, a couple more hits and I was definitely dead, but no matter the case, I prevailed. And the next missions were all pretty much a breeze. Some normal enemies, couple of bosses, get to the end of the level, beat the boss just for your game to crash, now you gotta do it all over again. It's times like this that I miss sitting next to the dumpster and throwing my ass in a circle. Anyway, that's just the normal experience when you're using mods. After making our way through to the next couple of missions, we arrive at the King Cerberus fight. And this was going to be the toughest boss I'd be facing so far. With the different modes the boss can go into, all with their own attacks and advantages, I was fairly certain that this would have been the first place I'd have a death. But with sheer luck and determination, we made it through just barely and were able to keep on our journey. But it was the next mission where my luck streak was over. The next mission is just another Virgil fight, but this time he has completely different moves from all of his other fights, and any move that is from his other fights are slightly changed so you don't really know what to expect. But I kept fighting and was doing fairly well, but as the fight went on I realized the more his health went down, so did mine. And as I had him with just a sliver of his HP bar left, I died. The first death of the video, and so close to the end of the boss fight. Now I had a tough decision. Do I use my revive now and guarantee a win and be able to stay on an easier difficulty, or save my revives for the final Virgil fight, which was going to be near impossible to beat after not fighting him for so long? So I decided to bite the bullet and give up. So with the first real death of the run, we now have to change the difficulty to Son of Sparta difficulty, which, don't get me wrong, isn't near as bad as Dante Must Die, but I was still going to need to play way better than I've been playing. I simply needed to lock in. So lock in was what I did. I took a deep breath, changed the difficulty, pissed my pants a little, and then went off to fight Virgil again. But as Leon Sex Kennedy said himself,
this time, it can be different. It has to.
I had to get in as much damage as possible while playing as passively as possible due to Virgil's long attack strings. But with Trickster Dash we were able to block most of his attacks and do... This was horrible. The absolute worst case scenario for this moment happened, and it was at this moment I really considered giving up on this challenge altogether. I mean, if I couldn't beat this Virgil, what makes you think I'll be able to beat a stronger Virgil and on a harder difficulty? So I had to make a choice, and so I caved and decided to use my first revive of the run, and thanks to that we were able to beat Virgil and move on to the next mission, which was to fight 3 different bosses at once, then fight them all at the same time, so it was safe to say I had my work cut out for me. But since this fight still did seem a lot easier than the Virgil fight, I had a lot more confidence going into this. And that was the worst mistake I could have made. Having all that confidence caused me to play like the smartest Ubisoft fan and spelled out my own death. And this time it was a real problem. I would either have to sacrifice another gold orb and hope that that would be enough to save me if this challenge got too rough, or be forced to switch to Dante Must Die mode and have next to no chance of even getting to the Virgil fight. So I went ahead and used a second gold orb, and with that I was able to finish this boss and move on to the next level. But this next level was going to be the single hardest challenge of the whole entire run. The moment I've been dreading this whole entire challenge, the Virgil fight. As I've mentioned, I haven't even practiced fighting Virgil in months, and even though I used to be fairly decent at it, to say I was lacking confidence would be an understatement. I only had 1 gold orb to get me through the entire fight. All I would need is to get hit by 2 or 3 of Virgil's attacks and I was dead. So I decided to take a little break and really think about this challenge. Was it really worth it? Was getting the chance to talk to Ada Wong really worth risking my happiness and sanity? Was this video worth making just for someone to tell me to end my life because I called Nero a twink. But the truth was, none of that mattered. I had come this close and it was time to finish this. And so I downed a pint of Lebronacy, made a few quick prayers to the Capcom gods, and set out to kill Virgil and end this challenge once and for all.
Hey, Virgil. Your portal opening days are over. Give me the Amano.
If you want it, then you'll have to take it. But you already knew that.
I had a feeling you'd say that.
I did it. Somehow, someway, I was just barely able to stay alive throughout the whole fight and use Royal Guard as much as possible to my advantage. And finally was able to look Virgil in his eyes and tell him that he finally lost, instead of him always kicking my ass. And as a way to celebrate, I had a little dance and had some time to catch up to Ada, where I was finally able to express my feelings to her. Now, I don't really know if she feels the same way, we'll just have to wait and see. And with all that being said, we can wrap up our journey here. We were able to beat Devil May Cry 5 with the difficulty increasing upon every death. And I would just like to say I'm just as shocked as you are. Like I said, I did not have as much confidence going into this and thought about ending this early multiple times. But I stuck with it and came out with a happy conclusion in the end. Thank you to Morrison for believing in me, and thank you for watching this video. I've never made any type of challenge video in the past, but this was a very different experience compared to my other videos. But nonetheless, I still enjoyed making this video, and I have other ideas for challenge videos in the future, so if you enjoyed this video, be sure to like and subscribe for more like this. And yeah, with all that being said, that's pretty much it. If you enjoyed, be sure to like and subscribe, and yeah, bye!